So this lesson is focusing on conversions. Before we even start doing any examples today, we have to first understand conversions. So what I need you to remember, and you're not going to have to memorize these, but you need to know them, is that 1 foot, FT for short, equals 12 inches. 1 yard, YD for short, equals 3 feet. 1 mile, MI for short, equals 5,280 feet. 1 pound, and we use pound for short as LB, equals 16 ounces, OZ for short, and 1 ton, capital T, equals 2,000 pounds. So you need to know these conversions in order to convert between units. We also have to know this, and I call it the gallon man, okay? So if you notice in blue, there's a big G, and we're going to be actually drawing this in a second. I wanted to see, have you see this before we draw it? There's a big G in blue, and then in the reds, there's Q's, and then in the greens, you see P's, and then the yellow, you have C. So what's that saying is there's 4 quarts in one big G, or 1 gallon. There's 2 pints in every quart, and there's 2 cups in every pint. And then off to the side, I have 8 ounces equals 1 cup. So you have to understand all these conversions, again, in order to convert between units. Now I'm actually going to redraw this big G in order for you to understand how I got this drawing. So we're going to start with drawing a big G. Then you're going to draw 4 big Q's inside the G. Then you're going to draw 2 P's inside the Q, each Q actually. And then you're going to draw 2 C's inside each P. Then if you do it this way, you'll really be able to memorize these conversions. And then you can just write off to the side 8 ounces equals 1 cup. And I forgot to mention that these are all customary units. So if we go back here, and I color-coded them, in the black, these conversions are the length conversions. In the blue are our weight conversions. And this gallon man is when we talk about capacity. So our units of measurement, we either use length, weight, or capacity depending on what we're measuring. So my first example is we are going to convert, we're going to say 5 pounds, and I'm going to say LB for short, that's pounds, equals how many ounces? Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to go back to our conversion chart and figure out how many ounces are in a pound. So if we look back here, we see that there's 16 ounces, and I'm looking right here, 16 ounces in 1 pound. So I'm going to go back to my example. So I know that there's 16 ounces in 1 pound. Okay, so I first write what I know. Now I need to line up my measurements. So I'm going to say 5 pounds, put pounds here. Then I'm going to put the 1 pound from right here, and I'm going to line it up right here, 1 pound. And we're going to say 5 pounds in question mark ounces is going to equal 1 pound in 16 ounces. Notice that my ounces are lined up and my pounds are lined up. So 5 pounds in how many ounces equals 1 pound in 16 ounces. Okay, so from here, I'm going to do what I call the fifth fish method. So we're actually going to be kind of making a fish here. So I'm going to say 5 times 16, notice how I'm going across, divided by 1 is going to equal my unknown. I'm going to say that again. 5 times 16, notice I'm going across, divided by 1 is going to equal my unknown. And notice how I made a little fish. So then I'm going to say 16 or 16 times 5 divided by 1 is going to equal my unknown. So I'm going to do 16 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30, carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So 16 times 5 is 80, and then 80 divided by 1 is 80. So now I know that 5 pounds equals 80 ounces. Now my next example I'm going to say is 28 ounces equals how many cups? Okay, so now I have to say, what do I know? And I'm going to go back to here. So I know 8 ounces is in 1 cup. So I'm going to write 8 ounces equals 1 cup. All right, so now I have to line up my units. So I'm going to just put 28 ounces. And then I'm going to line up my units, and I'm going to put 8 ounces here. And I know 28 ounces equals our unknown amount of cups. And then 8 ounces equals 1 cup. And if you notice, I have my ounces lined up and my cups lined up from the information that I was given here. So now I'm going to do my fish method. So I'm going to say 28 times 1, notice I'm going across, divided by 8 is going to equal my unknown. So I'm going to say that again. 28 times 1 divided by 8 is going to equal my unknown amount of cups, which is what I'm solving for right here. So I'm going to say 28 times 1 equals 28. Now I'm going to divide that by 8. So 8 goes into 28. 8 goes into 2 0 times. 8 goes into 28. 8 goes into 24 3 times. I'm going to subtract. Okay. Now I have to, there's nothing for me to bring down, so I'm going to put a decimal point right here and add a 0. And 8 goes into 45 times. So if I look at my answer here, I have 3.5 or 3.5. So now I can say that 28 ounces equals 3.5 cups. So again, that's how we change our customary units. That's how we convert between units. Again, we go back to what we know. Here are all my conversions. We have my gallon man. We also have these conversions here. So you always have to say, what do I know? Then what you have to make sure you do is you have to line up your units. And then you can solve for your unknown. Again, using that fish method, all you have to do is multiply 2 numbers, then divide by the third. And that's it for this lesson.